This video is very kindly sponsored by the Strategist Den Games. You can visit their web store to pick up war games including Solitaire at www.strategistden.com.
Welcome to a Solitaire video review for a very cool game in the States of Siege series system, Cruel Necessity, the English Civil Wars of 1640 to 1653, designed by Worthington Publishing. Published by Worthington Publishing, designed by John Welch. So, if you don't know, I enjoy the States of Siege series games. The concept behind the States of Siege series is you have an AI enemy that is converging down tracks, assaulting you and your capital or your main point of influence, trying to take you over. In this game, the player takes on the role of the parliamentarians during the English Civil Wars, and you are trying to protect London from being overtaken, besieged and overtaken. You're also trying to protect your forts in Bristol and Hull. I've lost this one, as you can see in my playthrough. I took over Oxford from the Royalist. These are going to be the source of my actions per turn. They are called Zeal points. So here's the Zeal points marker. It's the same on both sides. There's a track down here. As long as you control London and then any one of these three, you get 3 for London and 1 for each. So I can get up to 6 Zeal points per turn. If you have Catholicism, which is a political track, more religious, but it's a political track. If you have that one in the 5 spot, it's going to give you an extra Zeal point every turn. But you can't count on that. That's going to last 2 or 3 turns, and then it's going to be knocked out of there. But those points can be used to take various actions. I'm going to show you this really great player aid, by the way, one of the better ones that I've seen. And I think this is one of the updates here to this deluxe edition, which I'll go over a little bit of some of what has changed. There wasn't a whole lot, but it's a 2-sided player aid. One side has the tactical battle sequence and the consequences of those battles. Really great part of the design. The other one is just the various, how the cards work and the keywords, what they mean, how different tragedies are going to befall you, how you siege Oxford, a list of your player actions, and then the general sequence of play. But players are going to use those Zeal points to take a list of actions. You can take 1 action for 1 Zeal point. You're going to infuse Zeal to deal with a single unit or marker. So you're going to take a Zeal point, spend it. You're going to attack like the Army of the North, Ireland, Scotland, or the West. Or you might try to attack clubmen who are revolting in provinces, or to deal with mutinies in the various provinces. Or you're going to deal with deviltry markers, which once again are things that are going wrong in your countryside as this war is being prosecuted. Infuse a Zeal to deal with one of those. That's action 1. Purchase available achievement cards. One of the really cool things in this game, and this was one of the things that was amended a bit in this game, you have these achievement cards. These come in the deck. There are 3 era decks representing the 3 different stages of that English Civil War. And you're going to have these political tracks over here in the positions noted on this card, and then spend your Zeal or currency to gain this card. It's going to give you a temporary immediate benefit, and then you're going to get victory points. So this one gives you 4, this one gives you 3. There are several. Here's one that I was able to acquire in my playthrough to get 2. You need to get those because that's the only way you're going to score real victory points. Campaign against an enemy army unit or deviltry marker. So you're going to attack an army. I interact with a counter is like the deviltry or the clubmen, or the mutinies. Deviltry's included in there. It's all the same thing, basically, though. Besiege an enemy fortress or a revolt marker. Fortify a friendly fortress. Engage in politics. That's dealing with this track. Or declare desperate times. Now, desperate times is something that's going to happen if London is under besiege. Then you kind of get some free actions, but it costs you. So I have had to do that once or twice, not in this playthrough that I just did. But you have those actions, and you have anywhere from 5 to, say, 7 or maybe 8 zeal to use per turn. And you never, as is the case in most of these States of Siege series games, you never have enough zeal or actions to do what you need. There's just not enough. The other thing that you need to be aware of in these games, there are cards. So these cards in this game are drawn, and they are going to do different bad things to you. This symbol shows a pikeman and a cannon. That means you're going to have a tactical battle. The tactical battle is held on this little display, and each side has units that are going to be drawn from these cups, put into those positions, and then you're going to do contested die rolls and try to defeat each other. You're then going to go into the victory, the draw, or the defeat box. Whichever of these 3 boxes has the most of your units at the end of the battle will determine whether it's a victory, a draw, or a defeat. Victory, you get some special benefits. Draw, you lose a zeal point. It's not good. And then defeat, you lose a zeal point, and the monarchy's power goes down. These icons activate the various armies. The North and the West are activated on this card. Activating means they're going to move, they're going to besiege a city, or they're going to, if they are disorganized, they have a disordered side, one of their activations will be to reorder themselves. They also might possibly attack clubman markers that are found in the areas. The next thing you'll see, it says besiege or fortify Bristol and Hull. So this is telling me that somebody is besieging Hull and Bristol if I control them. If they are controlled by the Royalist player, they're going to be fortified. Fortified means they get a click, and that increases their number of hits they can take and their defensive value. That's really bad. Then you're going to have these religious and political things that are going to happen. This is going to give you a couple of +1 DRMs to these political tracks. Sometimes they will decrease. Catholicism will go down. Monarchy gets a +1. Here, Catholicism's going down. Puritanism is going up. There are beneficial ones, but monarchy will go down. There are also words that are shown, like unrest in London. That means there's a plot against you, and there is fighting and besieging of London proper. You also have religious and political reactions. Here's a political reaction. Where's religious? I haven't maybe seen one yet. Those don't happen quite as often. Religious reaction. There you go, religious reaction. And those are going to happen every turn. So what happens is you draw one of these cards, you do everything on the card. Sometimes there are choices. And then once that's been done on the board, you get to use your zeal points to try to undo that. If you ever get an army that besieges and controls London, you automatically lose the game. If you also ever get 3 of these political markers under the dotted line here in the D or F section, you automatically lose the game. This happens to be very hard to get to prevent. I have found that I've lost at least once that way, and I end up spending a lot of my zeal points to try to increase those, thereby allowing these armies to kind of roam free and do a lot of damage. So there I've kind of given you an overview of the rules. There are a lot of very cool things. There's 3 era decks. There are 60 total cards. So you have to survive through 60 cards, and then you add up your victory points to see where you stand. One of the things I want to point out about the game is the changes. So this is a deluxe edition. It doesn't really say that on the box, but this is a deluxe edition. The only real things that have been upgraded and changed, the art, you can see beautiful art on the front of that box. I mean, that's absolutely gorgeous. The map has been redone, reorganized, more clarified. The cards have been redone. The graphics are changed. The counters. Everything has been deluxeified, so it's really, really nice. The other thing that changed is, and I don't know specifics, but I know several of these achievement cards were really, really hard to get in the first edition. They have made a couple of them a little bit easier to get. And then the victory conditions have been slightly tweaked. I think a lot of people thought it was too hard to win. And the designer ended up ultimately just tweaking a little bit of it. So other than that, this is almost the same as the first edition game, but I will tell you, it's a real nice addition and upgrade. Looks really good. The box is really nice. The components are fantastic. It comes, as do all Worthington games nowadays, with this very cool in-the-box counter sheet. It also gives you this lid that you can see me, hey, this lid, which keeps the components under wraps. Those are really the differences in this game from that first edition. So there, that answers that question. One of the other things I want to show you, I'm going to go ahead and show you how so I went ahead and chose my 2 cavalry units because I have named units. We're going to go ahead and show you how a battle works. So you're going to draw out units. There's Prince Rupert down on the bottom. Then you're going to draw 4 pike and musket units and put those in these positions. Here we got a 5. We got a 3. We got, I want to make sure I get an event. I'm going to go ahead and just pull out an event one. They're the weakest, but I want to make sure to show you what an event is. And then I get to pull out 4 as well. You put them in this order. So there you go. I've got a 3 there. I just dropped a couple guys. We've got a 6 there. I'll go ahead and use that 3. And then I dropped, I'm going to draw because here we go. We're going to pull this one. That's a 4. All right, so I've lined my guys up for combat on the tactical display. I'm going to go ahead and move this up just a little bit so you can get a better look at that. And then now what we're going to do, there's a sequence to this. We're going to go through, and only one of these cards or one of these counters says an event. We're going to pull a battle event, and there's all different types of these. This says resolve immediately. Add +1 strength to the weakest royalist musket and pike unit. So we're going to grab a +1 strength marker and put it on this number 2. So he now becomes a number 3. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to move this dice tower into the center so you can see this. I am the parliamentarian. My dice is blue. The royalists are red. We're going to start at the top. And Oliver Cromwell's cavalry unit has a special ability. If they win their battle, they get to flip over, and they have a +3 strength modifier to the section that is adjacent to them. So the 3rd section on the battlefield where I've placed that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to compare strengths. I'm a 6, they're a 2. We're going to add a die roll to that. Let's go ahead and roll. Okay, so I'm a 10, they're a 6. So I win the battle. If we were tied or 1 higher or 1 lower, that's called a draw. If you're 2 higher, that's called a victory than your enemy. If you're 2 lower than your enemy, that's a defeat. So in this case, I'm a 10 on their 6. That's 4 higher. So I'm going to take Cromwell, move that over. I'm going to turn that over, and he's going to add +3 to both these pike and musket units that were adjacent. This cavalry unit is going to be placed into the defeat box. Okay, we move to the next combat. I'm a 3 +3 is a 6 to their 5. We're going to roll. They rolled a 6, so they're an 11. I rolled a 5. I'm a 10. That's a draw. So we're going to put both these units in the draw box. That's a sucky outcome for me. Here I'm a 6 plus 3 is a 9 to their 3. I'm a 10 to their 6. I win, but barely. And now Cromwell goes in there because his benefit is done. They go into the defeated. We have 3 left. I'm a 3 on their 3. Straight up roll. I rolled a 6. 9 to a 7. I win. That's a victory. Here we're a 4 to a 3. Let's roll. They're an 8 on my 6, so they win. Boy, that sucks. We're going to put that guy in there. And now it's a 5 on a 5, a straight roll, and it's going to be a draw. All right. So, great. You got a bunch of units in a box. Well, I'll tell you what that means. Whichever box you have the most units in, that is your result. I have 3 units in the victory box, 2 in the draw, and 1 in the defeat. Therefore, this is a victory. Now, it's a simple victory. I don't get any benefit for it. I don't get to disorder an army. I don't get any what's called bonus points. Bonus points, or benefit points, here on this chart here, can be used to buy these effects. You can get a Zeal point, which is an action. You can increase a political track by 1 or a fortress marker. You can give a -1 modifier to one of the armies or a -2, and that's how much that costs. So you're going to earn 1 benefit point for each unit in the victory box higher than 3. So let's say I won 5 of the 6 battles. I would get 2 benefit points, and I would get to choose which of these I want to take. I could do 2 Zeal points. I could adjust a political track or increase a fortress marker by 1 click, or I could go ahead and give a -1 to the Army of the North or the West. I also would get to disorder whichever of the armies I chose at the beginning. I didn't tell you which army I chose. I would then get to flip over. I chose the Army of the West. I would get to disorder them and put them back on the board. They're weaker. So that's the tactical battle sequence. You have about 5 or 6 of those each turn. Very cool. I think a very cool mechanic. It's kind of random, but there's some strategy to it. You got to put your guys where you best feel they are needed. And you can also use a Zeal point to add this +1 Zeal marker, +1 strength, to any one of your units. But you have to do that at sometime during the battle. So that's kind of cool. The other thing that's kind of neat that happens, so for instance, you'll see in this box, this is a named royalist unit, the Royal Cornish Foot. They were defeated. They're in the defeat box. When they are in the defeat box as a named unit, you're going to have a deadly outcome. You're going to roll a d6, consult this chart, and then you're going to determine what happens. On a 1 or 2, that unit goes out of the game permanently. A 3 or a 4, they go into what is called the recovery box. That means they will not return to the draw cup until after the next battle is prosecuted. A 5 or a 6, they go back to your holding, go back to the draw pool or the holding boxes up there. So that's kind of a very unique thing. So we've got the Cornish Foot in there. Let's roll a die. I rolled a 5. Nothing happens to them. They just go back to their draw cup. I really like the tactical aspect to the game. I think it's very fun, very interesting, and it really, I think, ratchets up the difficulty of the game. Because if you lose, you lose like a bunch of stuff. You lose a Zeal point and a monarchy goes down. And then these events are really, really cool. They're just all different kinds. You get strength bonuses. You can reroll dice. You can change out a unit. You can get extra BPs, those benefit points from winning. Just a very unique and interesting tactical battle component that I think was a really nice addition to the game. All right, so what do I like about the game? Love the tactical battle. Love the graphics. Really enjoy this political track If you ever have 3 of these below the Fs or the Ds and the Fs, you lose the game automatically. You've got to keep these up. How do you do that? You spend a Zeal point and you have to roll higher than, not equal to, or greater than, higher than the box you're trying to get to. So for instance, Monarchy is a 4. I rolled a 1, I fail. I'd have to roll a 5 or a 6 in order for that to increase 1. Really enjoy that part of the game. I think the achievements are fascinating. These are very, very challenging to get. Monarchy and Parliament both being in an A. Monarchy currently is in a C. 1, 2, 3. They'd have to go up 3 boxes to get to the A. Parliament is currently in a B. I only have to go up 1. And then you have to have Puritanism at a C, which I'm at least. And then you have to spend Zeal to get, once again, those victory points and those benefits. You're going to have 7 or 8 of those in each of these decks. You can only hold 3 up there. If you don't get them and you draw a new one, you have to get rid of one of the old and throw the new one in. That's a really great addition. I will say the difficulty on these cards is significant. A lot of times these armies activate twice, which means moving twice or besieging a fort twice. You're going to lose a lot of forts. You're going to take a lot of forts. Really enjoy this besiege element, trying to ratchet your defenses up as high as they go to 3s. Oxford goes to a 4. London goes to a 4, but you got to pay your Zeal to get that up. That's very cool. I like that. I like the history that's infused into the game. If you look at the different cards, there's historical elements about this event with a named event. I really like that. There are 3 of these decks. There I only have the first deck. Here's deck number 2, and then here's deck number 3, and they significantly ratchet up the difficulty. You'll have more and more activations and more negative events as the games go on. I like the player aid card. This is absolutely fantastic. You can get the rules down and then play from just the card, which is very, very nice. I also like that, this game is at your own pace. You're not pushed. You can play 5 or 6 cards, go do something, come back, play a whole deck, take the next deck later that night or the next day. The game's always going to be here for you. And frankly, I think it's fun. One of the things I like the most about it is it's extremely difficult. I've played now 4 times, and I've only got a moderate victory. Let me show you here. I got a moderate victory on my 3rd play. The first time I got a substantive defeat, and the second time I got a decisive defeat. So I did score 14 victory points and got a moderate victory, which was the historical result. Okay, what did I not like about it? Well, I don't know why these things are so small. I'm an old guy. I'm 50. I just don't understand why these things are so small. Make the names bigger. The numbers are pretty good. Like I can see that's a 4. That's great. But the cards are really small. Maybe make the cards a little oversized so you can make them bigger. Also, the game is a 3 to 3.5 hour game. There's just no way around that. What does it say on the box? Okay, it says victory within 1 to 3 hours. So I disagree with that. Now, 1 to 3 hours, you can play one deck as a scenario, and that will take you hour and a half. So yes, 1 hour you could win. 3 hours you could probably do almost all the decks once you understand things. But there's a lot involved. This tactical display, you're going to do 6 or 7 times each deck. That's a lot of effort. Dealing with the stuff, thinking about what you want to do. It does take a while to play. So the play time is a little bit long. I do like that there's not many exceptions. Pretty much everything is as it is, or it's written on a card. And I think that's very good. Love the production. Really a nice job. I'm going to be honest. This is probably in my top 3 or 4 States of Siege series games. I have so many that I love. Dawn of the Zeds is amazing. The new Kaiserkrieg is absolutely amazing. I really enjoy Soviet Dawn. But Cruel Necessity, man, it's right up there. It's really, really good. Really, really enjoy it. So I think if you're interested, if you like the English Civil Wars, if you enjoy States of Siege series, and you enjoy a good solo, dedicated solo game, I think this game is for you, and I think you're going to enjoy it. I think you should go ahead and snatch up a copy before it becomes impossible to get. I also love how Worthington is trying to redo all of these. They've done Cruel Necessity, Soviet Dawn, Malta Besieged, Levy en Masse. What else have they done? I feel like they've done at least one more, but really nice productions, and they're really good to play, so I really appreciate that they're doing those. But yeah, I don't have a lot of bad things to say about this. Probably the long playtime is my only gripe. Some of the States of Siege series games that I love the most play a little quicker. But once again, strap it on. You're going to be here for 3 hours. Enjoy it. It's nail-biting. It's difficult. It's frustrating. All of those things are feelings that you're going to, exhilaration, excitement, and it's fantastic. So can't say enough good about Cruel Necessity. Really enjoy it. Hope you guys have played it, or if you've played the original version, getting this new edition is probably a good idea, because I think it's much, much better. It looks better, plays better, has some cool additions. So I appreciate you guys watching. Look for my playthrough on the subject as well. I played about 3/4 of a deck just to show you all the mechanics. I would have loved to have done a full playthrough, but that would have been a 3-hour video, and you probably wouldn't have watched it. So, but thanks a lot. I appreciated playing this and bringing it to you. Hope you enjoy it. And I've been Grant for the Player's Aid.